Apollo 11 was the first manned mission to land on the moon. The Apollo 11 spacecraft consisted of the Command and Service Module Columbia and the Lunar Module Eagle. The crew consisted of Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Edwin Aldrin. The spacecraft was launched from Cape Kennedy at 1:32 p.m. on July 16, 1969. 12 minutes after takeoff, the astronauts were in orbit 120 miles away from Earth at 17,400 miles per hour. Then they began their 4-day journey to the moon, near a 250,000 miles away. They landed on the moon 102 hours, 45 minutes, and 40 seconds after launch. The landing site was chosen because it was a relatively smooth and level area. It does, however, have a high density of craters, and in the last seconds before landing, the lunar module had become manually piloted by Neil Armstrong to avoid sharp-rimmed ray crater that measured 180 meters across and 30 meters deep, known as WEST. The lunar module safely landed about 6 kilometers from the original intended landing site. After landing, astronaut Neil Armstrong emerged from the spacecraft first. While descending, he released the modularized equipment stowage assembly, on which the surface television camera was stowed, and the camera recorded humankind's first step on the moon. The first step was taken by Neil Armstrong, and it happened at 2:56 a.m. on July 21, 1969. As he stepped on the moon's surface, he proclaimed, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Then astronaut Aldrin descended to the lunar surface. Unfortunately, astronaut Michael Collins had remained in the command module in orbit while his fellow crewmen explored the lunar surface. The astronauts carried out a planned sequence of activities, including the deployment of a solar wind composition experiment, collection of large samples of lunar materials, panoramic photographs of the region near the landing site and lunar horizon, collection of 2 core tube samples of the lunar surface, and a few other things. The astronauts spent a total of 2.5 hours walking on the lunar surface, in gravity only 1/6 as powerful as the Earth's. The igneous rocks that were retrieved from the moon were reported to be 3.7 billion years old. After their moonwalk, the astronauts began preparations to re-enter the lunar module, after which the astronauts slept. The ascent from the lunar surface began 21 hours, 36 minutes after the lunar landing. After rejoining the command module, the crew landed in the Pacific Ocean 825 miles from Hawaii on July 24, 1969 at 4:50 p.m. The prime mission objective of Apollo 11 is stated simply: perform a manned lunar landing and return, and they did just